What's up, you guys? It's Layla Lynn, and I'm back with a new video. And in this video, I want to give an update on the queen of all media who will be returning to daytime television soon, Miss Wendy Williams. You might have heard, if you keep up with Wendy Williams news, and you might have heard yesterday was a big day for Wendy Williams. She actually made it to the hospital. She made it out of her facility. She was escorted by police to the hospital, and she was given a psychiatric test. Actually, two psychiatric tests, and she aced both tests. She aced both tests and proved that she is not incapacitated, which is a big deal for Wendy Williams because her guardianship is entirely based on the fact or the diagnosis that she's incapacitated. So, in this video, we're going to get into what she said in her interview with The Breakfast Club. She did an interview with The Breakfast Club with one of her caretakers, Gina, who has been really helping her a lot as far as how to navigate getting out of this situation. She seems to be an independent caretaker, not affiliated with the facility that Wendy Williams is in. And even when Gina was trying to get her to the hospital, like, let's call the police, let's get to the hospital, they were receiving so much pushback from the facility and from Sabrina Morrissey, the person who oversees the guardianship. So let's get into it, you guys. But first, if you're not familiar with me, or if for some strange reason you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, go ahead and subscribe. Subscribe to this channel and join us on the road to 500,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. All right, you guys, so I have a snippet of her interview on The Breakfast Club. This is kind of like snippets of like the highlights of her interview. So let's take a listen.
Well, the police showed up, and I'm exhausted. You know what I'm saying? I am exhausted, and I wanted to go to the hospital to talk to the doctor. You know, Gina, you can expound upon that a bit, please.
So we were actually trying to figure out how to kind of break through and get some kind of motion into this case, because we were pretty stuck at one point waiting for the lawyers to get through and get some type of trial. So I did two things. I wrote a letter to the Adult Protective Services, explaining to them Wendy's situation. She was isolated and we needed an investigation. Yesterday morning, during our morning calls, I told Wendy we will be calling the police. And we will be speaking to police, and we will be telling them that you are isolated. I pleaded with the police as if Wendy was my child. Please, you need to get her off this floor.
And listen,
she is confined.
And I told them I am not incapacitated, as I've been accused. And this floor that I live on is the memory unit. The people
Now, let me just pause it right here. The memory unit, from my understanding, the reason she's on that floor is because that floor doesn't go up to the restaurant at the top of the facility. It's it's a luxury facility with a restaurant and bar on like the top floor. And there was a past issue of her going to the top floor and eating and drinking at the restaurant, drinking alcohol. And so that's why she's on that particular floor from what I've read.
Live there, don't remember anything. Unlike me, like, why am I here? What is going on? It's a cry for help.
When the officers were there, Wendy started to feel she had a little bit of anxiety. And I said, tell them that you need to go to the hospital. And I said, when you go to the hospital, you're going to ask for an independent medical evaluation.
Yes.
But the building was giving us a hard time. They first sent a nurse. And they're like, oh, Wendy, we'll take care of it. I'll take your vitals.
And I said, no, thank you. No, thank you.
And I'm on the phone and I'm like, no, we need a medical doctor.
Right.
The nurse says, oh, we have a doctor in the building.
No, I want an independent doctor.
That's right. And I'm like, no. Doctor. Yeah, I said, no, she needs to get out. We need to go to a hospital. That's not a hospital.
Right.
We need to get her out of there, and she needs to be seen by medical outside of this facility. Yeah. And then finally, the cops were okay with that. And then the ambulance, and Wendy was okay as well. And they called the ambulance.
Now tell us what happened when you got to the hospital, because there were claims that they did a test and she got 10 out of 10 on the test. So what happened when she actually got to the hospital?
Well, when I got to the hospital, immediately, and they're saying, I get checked in, right? And then, they checked me for the heart palpitations and they did all kinds of scans and Gina, can you expound upon?
Yes. So she arrived at the hospital and the attorney convinced the doctors. So according to what was told, the guardian was there and Wendy's attorney. And I think there was a little back and forth as whether
Yeah. So there was a clash between the attorney and the guardian. And so the guardian had actually given the attorney the wrong address to the hospital. And Wendy goes into the detail about that, how she had to call the attorney and give him the right address. Like she knew what hospital she's at because she's familiar with New York. She knew exactly where she was. So she had to call her attorney and give him the right address. But that just shows you, like, any way she can, her guardian is trying to maneuver this in a way where Wendy can't get outside help. Even her own attorney, she doesn't want him present at the hospital. She doesn't really want the physicians at the hospital to check Wendy out. Everything has to be this big back and forth anytime any other third party wants to interact with Wendy. And it seems so unfair. It seems so unfair.
Was going to allow Wendy, the guardian, to get evaluated.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor saw there was a difference between the guardian's opinion and her lawyer's opinion, and the doctor had to go to his legal department from the hospital to see how he was going to do it. He received the clearance for the evaluation, and then Wendy took 2 evaluations, and pretty much they're evaluating whether she has competency and is able to make decisions, and she passed both tests.
What does the 10-10 mean?
I'm sorry?
What does 10-10, what does it mean? Just tell me what
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, correct. 10 questions asked, 10 questions correct, answered correctly.
I mean, they asked me simple things like, who's the president? You know what I'm saying? What's my birth date?
So there are reports that this exam that you did can't be used in moving forward to prove the like that you're not incapacitated. Can you clear that up or like explain, like, I don't know if I missed that part, like how this will be used?
That's actually false. That's a medical exam done by an independent doctor by a very well-known hospital. You can use that for the court.
So Wendy is on her way, like her assistant, her caregiver said. She was trying to get motion. Like, how do we get motion in this situation, in this case? Because y'all know this case has been going on for months now. And at one point, there are reports that Wendy threw a note out the window. Like yesterday, she saw paparazzi like filming her. So she threw a note out the window like, help, Wendy. So in her Breakfast Club interview, she also explains that was a cry for help. But at the same time, her guardian was helping her. Like, let's just call the police. Like, you don't just have to throw notes out the window. Let's just call the police. So the police came and they were able, after the interactions, like the pushback from the facility, they were eventually able to take her to the hospital, where the guardian came to the hospital, never interacted with Wendy, even though in the reports, the guardian says that she interacts with Wendy all the time. They have a friendly relationship. Wendy said in the full interview, she said that's not true. And when the guardian came to the hospital, she never interacted with Wendy. So that means she's telling the physicians, she doesn't want Wendy to have these 2 evaluations, but she hasn't even talked to Wendy, like she doesn't have a general sense of how Wendy's doing because she doesn't talk to her. And she probably purposely doesn't talk to Wendy because she knows at this point, Wendy is in her right mind. And if she does talk to Wendy, like, it's not going to be a pleasant conversation. It's not going to be a pleasant conversation. And what she's been doing is coming to an end. It's coming to an end. But y'all, leave a comment. Let me know what y'all think about Wendy getting some motion, getting some stuff going, passing the psychiatric evaluations 10 out of 10. In my opinion, I will never forget the Lifetime documentary. I will never forget it. And from my understanding, her health condition, like at that time, her mental health had deteriorated so much because of alcohol abuse. So my biggest concern for Wendy still remains, even though she's healing now because she doesn't have access to alcohol, when she does get from out of the guardianship, I just still want her to refrain from alcohol. Like, I still want her to put her health first. But y'all leave a comment. Let me know what y'all think. As always, thanks for watching. Now, if you made it this far to the end of the video, then I think you like my content. So make sure you subscribe and check out my channel. I have over 1,000 videos on my channel. Check out my playlist and my podcast, and I assure you, you will like more of my content.